Hey guys, and welcome into another video. Today we're going to be going back to kind of the roots of the channel, and that is going to be the draft. Now I'm going to be doing an NFL mock draft. We've done an NBA mock draft this year already. We're going to start doing the NFL ones. Obviously we're only week 5 right now, so it's definitely very, very early. So it's going to be an early mock draft. College football, some players haven't even played yet, which is kind of hard to do. I don't know much about the prospects either, at least at this point in time. I know some stuff from past years of looking at them, but nothing about this year's basically gameplay, I guess is what you'd say. So it's definitely going to be a learning curve. We're definitely just going to kind of see what a team might need and go towards that. This is definitely going to be raw. We're not going to be really looking at anything else. This is all just kind of raw footage off the top of my head, and we're going to have some fun with it. So if you guys do enjoy this content, please be sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and of course turn notifications on. And if you guys do like talking football, if you guys want to hear more football talk, definitely go check out my podcast. JCast is available on Spotify, Anchor, all these different podcasting platforms. So be sure to check that out. It should be in the link in the description as well. So definitely want to go through that, but here we go. So the two New York teams have pick 1 and 2 in this. I'm using Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator because right now it just seems like the best one at the moment. But when you look at what the Jets are going to do, it doesn't really matter if the Jets are going to do it, but whoever is at pick 1 there, Trevor Lawrence is going to be the pick. Now, a cool thing I like about this simulator is you can do trades. So one thing I was looking at is, okay, let's see if we wanted to trade the pick from the Jets, and let's say to a team like Washington, who we know is probably going to be in the quarterback market with how they've been treating Haskins. They could trade that pick and probably get back a haul here. I just don't think that that trades that. I don't think that the Jets need something to hang their hat on, and I think Trevor Lawrence, obviously he's going to be the generational player. He should go to a team that very much wants and needs him, and they can use their other draft picks and their free agent money to help him out. And you could probably flip Darnold for a solid package to a team that might be looking for a quarterback. Maybe has a quarterback aging, like a Big Ben type of thing. You definitely could flip him for something good because he's not a horrible player at all, at any means. I just don't know if it's going to be the perfect fit there. At pick number 2, this is interesting because the Giants last year at pick 3 had chosen Andrew Thomas. And I think that was an amazing pick. Or did we have pick 4? We had pick 4. But it was an amazing pick. He has done very well for us. The offensive line is still a hardship. So to figure out what to do here, getting a guy like P. Sewell would be huge. And I think that getting him would be awesome. But the one thing that I've noticed about this team, and I think everyone has noticed, is not necessarily the offensive line being horrible. They've definitely had some worse times than better times. But it's the amount of offense that is just lack thereof. Evan Ingram's healthy, Tate's healthy, Slayton's healthy. There is injuries obviously with Saquon and Shepard, but with Freeman to step up there, there's really just no explosiveness in there. I think we've scored 3 touchdowns this season up until this point. It's October 8th, so up until this point we've only scored 3 touchdowns. That is an issue, and an issue that needs to be solved. Now, would it be good to trade back here with maybe a team like Washington who might need a quarterback? Yeah, I think that would be good. Or even trading 1 pick down to the Falcons. Maybe they're going to want to take a tackle. Just kind of going down a couple more picks, get some more assets, I think that would be good for the Giants. But nonetheless, they need somebody explosive. And I'm going to be going here with Ja'Marr Chase out of LSU. Absolute beast of a receiver. He's young. He's athletic. He has great hands. I mean, there's really nothing bad about him. His speed. He is everything that Odell Beckham brought to the Giants. Arguably might even have a higher ceiling than what Odell had at the time. I mean, Odell was a superstar, and now he's definitely come down to earth since he's left New York. But they need more explosiveness. Get a younger version of what you had in Odell to add to this offense with Daniel Jones, with Saquon Barkley, and hopefully it creates some explosiveness on this offense. And you can try and get some offensive line help later on in the draft or such. But you need that weapon that is going to be very good. Having Ja'Marr Chase and Slayton for the next 10 years is going to be a very good duo to have. So I appreciate the Giants being able to do that. Another thing that I do like about this thing is that it shows team needs. So if we go to a team like the Falcons, it's saying they need a corner, a lot of things on defense, which they do need a lot of things on defense, but they definitely have had a lot of draft capital spent on corners this last year, so I don't know if I really want to go there. But when we look here, there's definitely a need for this Falcons team on defense, man. Their defense is not able to do what is needed. So they could go for a guy like a Certain. They could go for a guy like a Micah Parsons. I'm going to be going with an edge rusher out of Florida in Gregory Rousseau. I think Rousseau is just an absolute beast. Adding him to that line with Grady Jarrett there would be very fun to see. Get some pressure to other opposing teams' quarterbacks. I think that would be a very good option for them. Going into pick 4 here with the why did I just blank out there? With the Miami Dolphins, I'm going to give him P. Sewell. I just don't see a way that he falls that much farther. They have Tua. They need to protect Tua. They spent a lot of draft capital on protecting Tua last year, but having Sewell, having Jackson, having Robert Hunt, all these guys, Ted Karras, they definitely should be able to build that offense up a lot more and be honestly a playoff contender for the 2021 season here. Then we go over to the Bengals. Burrow has a good offense. Tyler Boyd's there, AJ Green's there. They definitely could use maybe another receiver. Rashad Bateman wouldn't be too horrible here, but I don't think they're going to go that way. I think they're definitely going to shore up that secondary, and I do think that Patrick Surtain is probably going to be the best pick for them there. Very good corner out of Alabama. I think that easily the top corner in the draft. Getting some more corner help would really just help out. I think that they have a lot of holes at that spot. They've spent a lot of capital trying to get that through agency. Mackenzie Alexander, they have William Jackson, but you really need that lockdown corner if you want to keep going. And I think Surtain's going to be that. You could go for a guy like a Dylan Moses or Micah Parsons, but for me, I'm just going to go ahead and take Patrick Surtain here at pick 6. It's going to be a little bit iffy. Do they want to go with Justin Fields at Ohio State? They just drafted an Ohio State quarterback not too long ago. He didn't really work out completely. I'm going to actually say no, but they are going to go with a quarterback as well, and that's going to be Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. He has been an absolute beast in college. North Dakota State's obviously a very good college, even though it's not, cream of the crop, and, it's not going to be the college playoff ever. They're a very good quarterback state, especially. Carson Wentz, Easton Stick, now Trey Lance, they definitely have the ability to produce quarterbacks, and I love to see that. So getting Trey Lance to go to a team like Washington, who hopefully will have a name by that point, they definitely need a quarterback. They just bent Haskins. They're going with Kyle Allen. I think that they're going to need to reset that quarterback position, and getting a guy like Trey Lance who can really do that. And I think there's less of a risk factor in Lance than there would be in Fields. I think Fields is an amazing quarterback prospect. I think he could be the one to break that mold more than Haskins or anyone else before him could of Ohio State just producing college quarterbacks. But overall, I think Trey Lance is going to be the better of the two. I think that by the end of the draft process, I think that he might be a top 5 kind of looked at player. So that's why I'm thinking Trey Lance is going to be there at pick 6. Now, pick 7 is interesting because, Matt Stafford's not having a bad year. They could go for a guy like Justin Fields, start to move on from Stafford. But I don't know if they're really going to do that. When you look at the Lions, what do they think the Lions need? Because they've shored up a lot, but they still are not that good. I think it's more or less coaching. It says they need a linebacker, a safety, receiver, corner, and D-tackle. Well, if they're saying that, well, then we'll go ahead and give them Micah Parsons, who I think is one of the top players in this draft. Looking at the Lions, they had spent a lot of money on defense. They have a defensive coach. I don't know if Patricia's going to be there after this year, but getting any guys to help out that front 7 can really help out. I know a lot of people were wanting them to get Isaiah Simmons last year. They took Okudah, and Okudah's been looking very good as a rookie corner. So for them to get Parsons there, it kind of takes that away. They lost Devon Kennard last year as well. I think he's in Arizona now. So definitely being able to shore up that front 7 would be very good. Parsons out of Penn State, very nice player. Would be good to add to the Lions. Now here at pick 8, it seems like it could be Justin Fields. We don't know how Jacksonville views Gardner. I think Gardner's a starting caliber quarterback. I think that every year he plays, he's shown that he is, last year and this year, he's shown that he can rise up to those moments. And really with no supporting cast around him, I think that he is worth keeping around. I think that he is a very good quarterback, for where I think instead of saying, this guy was a 5th round pick, like let's get a 1st rounder. No, use that 5th round pick. Hey, we got this guy in the 5th round and he's playing as good as a lot of 1st rounders would. Why take another quarterback? If you're able to get Trevor Lawrence, take Trevor Lawrence. If not, I say just shy off of that. So other than that, let's see what they think that they need. They need an edge rusher, a corner, a defensive tackle, and a running back. Well, running back, I think they have found it in James Robinson, so they don't need that. I think they could go receiver here, but they have Shenault and Chark, so I don't really know if they'll want to do that. So we're going to go ahead and give them another corner to pair up with C.J. Henderson from last year. And that's going to be Sean Wade out of Ohio State, who opted out of the season, then opted back in, so he should be playing this year. Very weird scenario, but I think that he's going to definitely be very good for them, kind of create a 1-2 punch that they had with Ramsey and Bouye, being very young with Wade and Henderson. I think that would be good. You could go for a guy like a Dylan Moses or maybe even a Marvin Wilson. But for linebacker, they got Scober, they got Jack. I think that they're okay there. And then, defensive-wise, I think there's always going to be defensive linemen that you can get later in the draft because defensive tackle really isn't that sought after as much anymore, which is kind of sad. I like having the big guys up front. But Shaun Wade, I think, would be an amazing pick for them at pick 8. So pick 9 here for the Broncos, which is a very young team. I think that what you have to do when you're the Broncos is kind of look and see, okay, what are we going to be able to replace now that there's aging players? And I think I already know the pick, but once again, let's just go check the team needs, and let's go over to the Broncos, who they say offensive tackle is their biggest need, a safety, a linebacker, a lot of defensive players. So I am going to give them an offensive lineman. I'm going to give them Creed Humphrey. It's nothing to do with where he is. I think you can move offensive linemen around a lot, but just getting an offensive lineman who is a top caliber player to join that offensive line, I think would help out a lot. You have a young quarterback with Locke, you have young receivers in Hamler and Judy, and even Sutton's a young receiver. Young tight end and Fant. Not so young Melvin Gordon and Lindsey, but pretty young. Like mid-20s, so it's not bad. It's very, 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 very young Broncos team. So you definitely want to keep the youth there, get everyone protected, kind of fit that mold of the timeline. It was kind of what you wanted to say, that fit the timeline for the Broncos. The pick 10, we have the Dolphins here, and this is their actual pick, I believe. I think pick 4 is the Texans pick, and then now they have pick 10. So here at pick 10, they already have Tua. They already have what they have. I think they're going to go with the receiver here, and I'm going to give them let's see. Do we want to give them Waddle, or do we want to give them Rashad Bateman? I think we'll give them Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. I think a little bit more upside, a little bit more. Waddle's obviously a beast. He's a speed guy. But adding Bateman to Devontae Parker would be very good. I know a lot of people didn't want them to draft a receiver last year, and they really didn't. But then you look at what Bateman can bring them this year. I think that's a very good player to get star power. You got 2 first-round picks. You might as well spend one of them on a guy like Bateman. That's definitely very good for that. Carolina Panthers are next here. Teddy Bridgewater's looked great, so no quarterback needed. I'm going to give him Dylan Moses here out of Alabama. Obviously, got to fill that Kuechly role, which was a very late retirement, which did suck for them to happen when it did. I think they would have targeted it a lot earlier in the draft, but they'd have that hole on defense. They need to fill it. Dylan Moses kind of fits that. So there's that. Pick 12, easily for me, Minnesota Vikings, Justin Fields. Now, Minnesota Vikings before last week were a number 1 pick contender. They won last week, so we'll see what happens with them for the rest of the season. But they haven't been looking too good. And it's a lot of that has to do with Kirk Cousins. He has not looked that good at all. So getting a guy like Justin Fields would definitely help them out. Even if you don't want to start him right away, you just extended Kirk for whatever reason, so you have another year or two to let Fields develop. Kind of do what the Chargers are doing right now with Herbert, where they're letting him kind of play with Tyrod hurt. They were going to put Tyrod back out there, but they're like, Herbert's been killing it. Let's keep him out there, so they're doing that. Pick 13 here for the San Diego Chargers. Now, they've pretty much got a very good offense set up. I think that they're always a team that could go offensive line, which is probably what they're suggesting that they do. Offensive tackle, linebacker, corner, and receiver. Definitely there. So I don't know what we really should have them do here. There's definitely some receivers on the board. There's definitely some defensive tackles on the board as well. They have Nasir Adderley and Derwin James. I don't think they need a corner. So I think maybe we'll go with Alex Leatherwood out of Alabama. He's a little bit farther down on the board, but if they need a tackle, I think they go for a tackle here. At pick 13. I've always said they need a tackle. I had them getting Mekhi Becton last year, I believe, off the top of my head, and they didn't. So obviously, with Herbert being the choice, protect Herbert as much as you can. Get an offensive lineman in Leatherwood, who is a pure offensive tackle, and that you don't have to worry about that anymore. We go to pick 14 here with the Dallas Cowboys. Defense is the thing. We know that they need a defensive player, specifically a corner. Going after Caleb Farley might be the move here. They could use an interior defensive lineman as well. Let's see. They could use a safety as well. Should we go Javon Holland, or do we want to go with Farley? I think we go with Javon Holland. Their safety game is pretty bad right now as well. They just use Diggs, so Diggs should probably progress into a solid corner next year. But with the injuries and just with how young and average their secondary is, they've been getting scored on so much, and they've been able to outduel some teams, which is really cool. But it just sucks to see how they've kind of reacted. So here going to the Oakland Raiders, or Las Vegas Raiders, not Oakland Raiders. I don't know why I even said that. It says they need a quarterback. That's the biggest need. I don't know, man. Derek Carr hasn't been too bad. There's really not a quarterback even up here still that's worth a first round in my opinion. Newman and Purdy are pretty much Trask is probably another guy that's going to move up throughout the draft process, but I don't really see quarterback being a thing. They drafted a corner last year, a safety. They have Jonathan Abram coming back as well. Defensive tackle and an edge rusher. So I think we'll give them a defensive tackle here, Marvin Wilson, who is a top defensive tackle, but falling to 15 just because the defensive tackle position is kind of hard to fill. We saw that the last draft with Kinlaw falling down pretty far. even Derek Brown moved to pick 8 or whatever it was. So defense tackle definitely is something that falls a lot just due to the position not being as important as it is. But getting a guy like Marvin Wilson will help out, help Max Crosby. I don't know if I can say that. Max Crosby and Clelin Ferrell kind of get back to the pass rusher role that they need to be in. So the Arizona Cardinals here at pick 16, they've looked very good. I don't know if they'll be picking here. The smart play would be taking a tight end in Freiermuth out of Penn State just because they need a tight end, but they never really throw to their tight end. It's always been a thing for them. So I'm not really sure if they should do that. Getting a guy like Wyatt Davis at Ohio State I think would be very good for them. Let's see what they think that they should do. I think tight end and offensive guard should probably be up there. Offensive tackle, edge, corner. They don't have tight end up there, but offensive lineman is pretty much where they need to go. So best offensive lineman here is Wyatt Davis. We're going to go ahead and take him for the Cardinals. Slide him in there wherever he can fit. You just extended Humphreys. You just drafted Josh Jones late in the draft. So I think that this is a very good pick for them to keep bolstering that offensive line, keep protecting Kyler. Running back is even something they could be going for. Obviously, I don't think running backs are really a first-round grade anymore, but getting any of these guys, trading down and getting one of those guys would be very good as well. Maybe they believe in Eno Benjamin. I'm hoping they do. He's in my dynasty team, so I'm hoping that they believe in him and he kind of gets the starting job next year. But pick 17, this is a tough one for the Patriots because what are they going to do with Cam Newton? Are they going to extend him? Are they going to give the reins to Jarrett Stidham? It's very much in question. And, receiver-wise, they have N'Keal Harry, and I don't know if they're going to go with another first-round receiver. I think they're going to bolster up their defense a little bit more and go after that. So looking at what's on the board, I think, corner, they're pretty much set at. They have a lot of good corners. There's a lot of receivers still on the board. Maybe they do go after a receiver. I'm gonna do the more Belichick thing. Give them an edge rusher in Quincy Roach. As much as I think Waddle would fit their system very well, having Waddle and N'Keal Harry being your predecessors to the last regime of the Patriots, I think that going two drafts in the last 3 years with a wide receiver in the first round is definitely not the Patriot way. So I think getting a guy like Quincy Roach is definitely going to be the pick there. For the 49ers at pick 18, they have a tight end. They don't need one, but they could use another receiver. They took Ayuk last year. They have Deebo Samuel. I think they're still a receiver away. I mean, they could go elsewhere and find a receiver, and I think that's what they should do. And honestly, I think that's what they will do. So in that case, we're going to go with Caleb Farley here. Help out that corner. Sherman's not getting any younger. There are corners other than that. Verrett's had a good year. Witherspoon's had a decent year. But you do need somebody that can be a solid corner. So getting a first-round talent in that would be a good pick for them. Chicago, again, another team where it's like, what can you do, man? I don't know what this team really has. I don't know what their identity is. I'm just going to give them Jalen Waddle because I think they need more explosiveness on that offense. Miller's pretty good. Cordell Patterson's this weapon. Robinson's obviously very good at what he does. But whatever the quarterback situation is, whether it's Trubisky, whether it's Foles, whether they draft somebody later in the draft, whether they pick someone up in free agency, they need some receivers to throw it to. So getting a guy like Waddle will very much help out that offense. Pick 20 here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles have not looked good this year. Let's see what they think the Eagles need. Pretty much anything on defense and a receiver. Well, they drafted Rager last year, and they could use another receiver. So this is somewhere where they could definitely go after Rondale Moore or a Devonta Smith or something. But I think that for me, I'm going to go with a defensive side and probably give them Hamza. I always mess this up. Hamza Nasir-Ladin. I think I said it right. But I'm going to give him Hamza out of Florida State just because they need a safety. Malcolm Jenkins is gone. They need help in that secondary. They've always needed help in that secondary. So getting a guy like him instead of getting a guy like, Jalen Rager or Jalen Hurts in the first 2 rounds, I think that Eagles fans might even be happy with that. Pick 21 here for Cleveland. Cleveland is kind of one of those teams where they can kind of just go best available. They don't really have too many holes on their team. They really have been able to figure a lot of that out. But let's just get a little bit younger on the defensive side. And I'm going to go with Christian Barmore out of Alabama. The reason why I take him over Twyman is just because Alabama is pretty much an NFL team in college. The way Nick Saban runs his team is very much pro-ready, and the Browns are a team that's ready to win now. So getting a guy like him to hop in there, he could start right away and make an impact there. Indianapolis, they just drafted a receiver last year in Pittman. Pascal's looking pretty good as a young receiver. I don't think they need to go receiver here. They could go with a tight end unless they trust Mo Alley Cox, which I think they could. Offensive line is very solid. This team is very solid, the Colts. They're saying they could go quarterback. I think they might trust Eason. I really do. I think that they drafted Eason with the purpose of letting him play. It says they need an offensive tackle, an edge, or receiver. There definitely is those on the board, so maybe they go for a guy. I'm gonna give him Samuel Cosmi out of Texas. Just giving them an offensive tackle. Offensive line is so important. So getting as much as you can. filling that Costanzo role, I think, would be the way to go here for the Colts. Buccaneers here at pick 23. We know that they're not getting any younger because they're getting older, trying to win now. But defensive side is definitely where I think they could help out a lot more. Let's make sure that that's what they're thinking as well. So the Buccaneers, they think edge rusher, defense tackle, corner. Yeah, same thing I was thinking. So I'm going to give him Patrick Jones, edge rusher. We don't know what's going to happen with the likes of Shaq Barrett because, he had a great season last year. He's had a good season this year. He's on the plan on the tag. Will they extend him? We don't know. But getting an edge rusher like Patrick Jones would definitely help them out a lot. Pick 24 here. This is another one where it's like, okay, they pretty much set a receiver, I think. Deontay Johnson's really good. Juju's good. Even Washington's a good number 3, so I think they're fine there. They could go with Freiermuth, who's still on the board. But I think they'll probably go with Twyman, just for the simple fact that they lost out on, I forgot his name. Their defensive tackle, Hargrave, went to the Eagles, I believe, is where he went. So definitely replacing that would help out a lot. This defense is always going to be mean. You might as well keep adding to it, and keep that steel curtain, idea alive. Here at pick 25, we have Jacksonville again, and I think that what they should do here, if he's still on the board at this point, is take Freiermuth. Eifert's not bad, but getting a young, good tight end is definitely going to be very good for them. It's your second first-round pick. Walking out of here with Shaun Wade at corner and a solid top 10 worthy tight end would definitely be a haul for the Jacksonville Jaguars. At pick 26 here, we have the Tennessee Titans, and I think they got to go offensive line here, man. They drafted Isaiah Wilson last year in the first round, and it doesn't even look like he might have an NFL career. So I think that's probably the best thing is going Trey Smith here. Let me see if they think elsewise. They think receiver. Should we give him receiver? I'll just give him receiver. Let's be fun. Let's give him Rondale Moore. I still believe in Corey Davis. A.J. Brown's obviously done very good. Humphreys is there, but, best available, I guess, we'll go there. I think they should go Trey Smith, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't feel good making that pick, but we'll give them that. Here at pick 27, let's see if there's a quarterback here. Brock Purdy is probably the closest thing. I guess they have Jameis in the back, so they probably will extend him if they want to take over for Breeze. So they're saying they need a quarterback. I think they'll take over Winston or even Taysom Hill if they need to. Linebacker, safety, corner. Yeah, I agree with that. I think they could even go tight end here just because of the fact that Jared Cook is so old, and you could replace that with a guy like Pitts or Brevin Jordan. I really do like Jordan a lot. But let's give him Caden Stearns out of Texas. I think he's a very solid safety. Not much more to say. The Saints are the Saints, man. They're going to be good no matter what. 28 here for Buffalo. They need an edge rusher corner. They're really stacked, man. Their team is very good. I'm just going to go ahead and give them – you could use another receiver, I guess, if Devonta Smith is still on the board. Let's give him Dylan Robbins out of North Dakota State. Just bolster up the offensive line. Like I said, offensive linemen are very versatile. You can move them around. You can teach them the position. They know how to block. They just have to learn the different positions going there. Packers are able to take a receiver this year, and that's Devonta Smith. I'm not even going to question it. Devonta Smith's a pick. Packers get a receiver. Thank you. You're welcome, etc. Baltimore's another team that could use a receiver here as well. Do we want to give him Chris Olave, I think is how you say it. Tylan Wallace is on the board. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's see. I think they do need to go receiver, though, just for the simple fact that they need more explosiveness in the offense, man. I'm going to give him Chris Olave out of Ohio State. And then, obviously, we get the Jets here. The Jets have already taken Trevor Lawrence. We know that. What other needs does this Jets team need? They need receiver, corner, edge, and safety. So receivers are kind of off the board right now. Corner, we still have that there. Edge rusher and Carlos Basham out of Wake Forest. Sure. And then the Chiefs are the last pick in the draft. And I think the best thing you could do here is just kind of make them better than what they already are. And that's kind of in the secondary. So getting after a corner in Paulson and Debo would definitely help out their draft. So let's see the full results here, just making sure everything is there. I kind of like doing this. I'm learning a lot more about these players. I don't really know too much about all of them, but let me know who your team picked and if you like the pick or not. Like I said, I haven't really studied enough of these players. I know them from last year. I don't know much about Christian Barmore. I don't know much about Dylan Radins. I don't. I know about Devonta Smith. I know about Nazir Ladine. I know about Farley. I know about Leatherwood. I know about all these top 10 guys especially. But I definitely need to study more of them as the season goes on. We don't really have anything to go off of yet. But this is a really early mock draft. This is just something fun to do. Maybe your team's doing horrible and you're like, man, I'm looking forward to the draft already. I know I'm one of those guys who I'm hoping a guy like Jamar Chase is on the Giants next year. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. If you want me to do more of these, I definitely think about doing one for the NBA soon as well with the NBA draft up and coming. Again, if you haven't checked out my podcast, JCast, go check the link in the description. There's definitely multiple ways to listen there, so definitely go check that out, whichever streaming site you want to do for that. And if you did like the video, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, turn those notification bells on. If you did enjoy the video, just refresh the page. Let me know what you think the second time. Without further ado, that's going to be for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.